Okay, I'm ready to start this meeting. We opened at 5 o'clock and we went into closed session. At that time, we established a quorum, and there we have 5. And at this point, I'd like to, we do not have, Annette, would you like to say what action was taken in closed session?
No action in closed session.
Okay, thank you, Annette. And we do not have our student trustee. So at this time, I guess I'll be reading, welcome to our board meeting. Documents provided to a majority of the governing board regarding this agenda will be made available for public inspection in the district office located at 20932 Big Canyon Road, Middletown, California during normal business hours. Such writings and documents will be posted on the district's website and clicking on the Board of Education. A file copy is also available in the front of the meeting room. Said file is not to be removed from the room. A focus on all of our students' best interest is a touchstone for our decision. Remember, it's okay to be hard on issues, not on people. Okay. Chris, will you lead us in the pledge? Okay, approval of agenda. Do I have a motion to approve the agenda as written?
We actually would, hang on, I'm not warmed up. We actually would like to pull item 7A, the school safety plans.
Okay, so we're going to pull item 7A, the school safety plans. Do I have a motion to approve the agenda with the pull of item 7A?
I move to approve.
Oh,
Second.
hang on.
Just one moment.
And also 9B. We're also going to pull 9B.
So I move to
So
approve.
7A and 9B.
The agenda with the removal of 7A and 9B,
7A and 9B.
and 9B.
I second.
Okay, it's been moved by Annette and seconded by Allison to approve the agenda with the polling 7A and 9B. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, passed 5-0. Okay, do I have a motion to approve the minutes?
I move to approve.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved by Annette to approve the minutes for both, I don't have the dates right here, but for both board meetings that we had, and seconded by Chris. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passed 5-0. Okay, so now's our time that we're going to go and talk about what we've done in the past. Patsy, would you like to share?
Attended a lot of basketball games. Go team. They're at home tonight, so I just want to wish them well. And also, I want to put out a big thank you, or not a thank you, but a congratulations to Isa from Middletown FFA. She won the Prepared Public Speaking Contest yesterday, and will be moving on to the regional competition, which I believe happens in March. So, pretty big deal.
Okay, Chris?
Congratulations to mock trial. They won tonight, and they're going to LA.
Ooh.
Wow. Okay, Allison?
Am I on? I just want to say I think all of our sports teams, FFA, all the things that are going on at the elementary schools and boosters and support and everything that everyone's doing to help facilitate MUSD and our students is, we just have a lot of gratitude for that. So thank you for showing up. Thank you for being there. Thank you for all of our community staff members who have been in a huge part of facilitating this process where we're doing our budget deficit plan and giving your input. We appreciate everyone and everybody who has something to say, and we're considering everything very carefully.
And Annette?
Just a few dates to report out. So on the 18th, we had new board member training all day in Lakeport, so I was there with a couple of our colleagues. Then we had our budget meetings on the 21st and 23rd. That was, it was really interesting hearing the different perspectives on both nights. The MUSD community came first, and then on the second night, the greater community and a lot of our neighbors from Cobb came down to talk about their priorities and feelings, and so it was really great to hear from everyone. On the 30th, there was I think it was a Capital Advisors group came to LCOE and did a budget workshop over viewing. Is that the right
Governor's
word?
budget.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm tired,
Yeah.
sorry. It was a very, very interesting presentation. There's a lot of uncertainty right now just because we don't really know where the federal government is in all of our funding, and so there's that. And then there's been a turnover in legislators. A lot of newer people have stepped up to serve at the Capitol in Sacramento, and so sometimes when you have newer legislators, they like to spend more money right away because they like to show that they're getting things done. And so a lot of these conversations happen that impact the budget. And my big takeaway was I was so glad that Tanya was there to really pay attention to all of this stuff. And then on the 6th, that we had our study session last week, and you know, that was 3 hours of really, for me, and I know probably everyone else in the room, it was 3 hours of really intense, really fierce conversation. And I just appreciated being able to talk openly in a safe space where we were all, thinking about ultimately at the end of the day, our students. So that's my report.
Thank you, Annette. Yeah, I'd like to piggyback on that too. I really thought it was great that all 3 sessions I thought thank you for the people that, came and joined us and gave their input, and I really enjoyed our study session too, at great length. The other thing I'd like to add is, I got my list. There's been, SSDA has been giving webinars, and there's been 6 of them that they're offering, and so some of us get to watch them, and they're also recorded, so we can watch them if we're not able to at some given time. And the last session was on financial stewardship, which the budget was dissected for board members. It's mainly just to show new board members and old board members different ways of looking at different things. And so they've been really interesting, and I look forward to the 4th one coming up. And I also wanted to on January 23rd, I was able to judge the poetry out loud for our high school students, and they were all amazing. And congratulations to Phoebe Jessen. She won first place at the Lake County level. That was held at Sober Reese Theater in Lakeport, so congratulations to her. And that's the end of my report. And Superintendent Crane.
Thank you. In addition to Poetry Out Loud, I also got to judge the Lions speech contest that was a couple of Saturdays ago at the Lions Club. Unfortunately, as sickness is wiping out a bunch of folks, it wiped that group down to only a couple of students who were able to speak, but they did a really good job. Friday night was a great night for Middletown students. Every grade level had something to do. Minnie Cannon sponsored a dance for the elementary students and their families at the Lions Club. I was not able to attend that, but I understand it was packed.
Oh, good.
It was cheek to jowl. And then the middle school had a dance that was right here, and I was able to visit that, and oh my goodness, they were having so much fun. It was terrific. And then the high school had a 4-banger basketball game. For those who may not be familiar with the term 4-banger, had JV girls, JV boys, varsity girls, varsity boys, all 4 games in a row against St. Helena. And both in the girls and the boys, St. Helena and Middletown are battling for the league title. And so there was a very intense atmosphere. It was very fun. The next week is President's Week, so want everyone to enjoy that time. The other thing is that this week is FFA Spirit Week, and so my blue and gold tie is not an accident. It is in recognition of FFA Spirit Week. I actually pulled a tractor today at lunchtime, and so that was very fun.
I saw the video.
I will tell you that I pulled the tractor with Demetrius, one of our students. We did it together in 23 seconds. Mr. Krollman, by himself, pulled it in 22. So there's a little bit of humility coming my way for that. And tomorrow is actually Hawaiian Shirt Day with FFA Spirit Week, just in case anybody sees the superintendent walking around in a Hawaiian shirt and thinks suddenly he's changed to go very more casual. No, I will not be wearing a bow tie with my Hawaiian shirt, Miss Batchy. Thank you for asking. And I will talk more about the budget at that point in the agenda, but for now I just want to thank everybody who shared their input as part of the process. There were a lot of people involved, the people who were here for our meetings here, but also phone calls, meetings, emails, lots of communication, and we very much appreciate that. We as school administrators work for the community, and so the more that we get to communicate with the community, the better off everybody is. And so we appreciate all the input that everybody gave. So
That's it.
that's all I have to say about that for now.
Okay, reports to the board. Do we have an MTA representative that would like to speak?
Uh-oh.
This time, MTA does not have a report. We're waiting for communication on negotiations from the district.
Okay, CSCA representative?
Oh,
Hi, Jennifer Hitson, representing CSEA Chapter 228 as Vice President. We would like to report that our regular chapter meetings are always on the second Wednesday of each month. We will have a special chapter meeting on Tuesday, February 25th at the Middletown High School Library to vote on the MOUs regarding reductions and layoffs. We appreciate the talks and discussions that have taken place to avoid complete layoffs. However, reductions still have a significant financial impact on our members and their families, not only on their salaries, but also their health benefits and retirement. Classified positions can be challenging to fill, and we fear the reduction in hours will make these positions less desirable. Do you have any questions for me?
Is there any questions from the board? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
And Van Pelt representative, Ray Green.
Good evening, Board. Didn't realize how much I missed you folks until I got here tonight. Saw your wonderful faces, so thank you for having me again. We have two truly active projects. One is the Tallman Gym, which is finishing up. Some of you may have noticed if you've been around the campus the last couple of days, they're installing parapet cap. We had a little bit of a back and forth with DSA about load bearing and how the roof is constructed and the weight of the roof on the main gym section. We're through that. The vendor was cautious about ordering parapet cap because it's about $100,000 of the material. That has now been ordered, it's fabricated, it's being installed right now. That'll close that project out. So soon I will be coming to you with final financials and a notice of completion, and we'll finish that project. The other project is the middle school gym. That is about 85% through DSA. So if everything went well with DSA and continued the way it is, we'd be looking at about an April start on that project. I have a little bit of a stumbling block with CGS, which is California Geological Service. We found a little bit of suspect soil between 4'8" and 6'7" deep. So we may have to drill again and take more soil samples. But once I get past that, we will have our spring start on that project. Questions?
Any questions from the board?
Yeah, I have a question. I just was wondering if we could have an update on the murals that were painted over at the high school. What is happening with those? I know they were supposed to be, I had thought that they were supposed to be repainted over the top of the paint, but then I heard that maybe they were going to be painted on canvas and hung somewhere. So I'm just wondering what's happening.
So our direction was to paint over all murals. So that's what we did. What we did, just in case, was we took high-resolution images of every mural. So that if there are murals that the district would like to bring back, we can have those screen printed. You could have them recreated, but the direction was to repaint the entire.
Who gave that direction? Do you remember? Was
I
that?
don't remember. I'd have to go back.
Because I remember specifically directing whoever was taking direction. I remember the district wanted those murals preserved for sure, and then reestablished in some way. I don't know how they were supposed to be reestablished, but
my understanding is that the high-resolution images, and then if we want to have pictures of them hung on campus, like indoors, or even if we wanted to do them outdoors somehow, that was because repainting the entire campus is something that we don't get to do very often.
right.
That we wanted to make sure that for the protection of the walls.
Yeah.
We did them
Well,
completely.
I mean, I'm willing to accept that there may have been a misunderstanding there and that we might not get the murals back. But I think that there are enough people on campus and who have left campus and left the district that promises were made that that artwork would not be lost forever and it would stay in a place in the district that could be seen. So if we could get back on track with reestablishing them on Canvas or however we're going to do that, that would be great.
Yeah, and that was part of the changeover between superintendents, so I
Yeah.
don't know all that went into it, but
And
that was
I
my
would
understanding.
have approached you about this
Yeah.
outside of the board meeting, but you just triggered
Raised
my
right here.
memory.
Yeah.
So,
So
but
if
yeah,
the-
that
Yeah.
it's
If the district can
important.
provide us with a list of murals that they would like recaptured on canvas or on screen print, we can do that. Or we have all of those high-resolution images in a drive. I can provide those images to the district, and they can choose which ones they'd like.
I mean, I don't know how you all feel, but I really do think that we were pretty clear in our commitment to preserve that artwork and keep it on campus so people could view it.
Well, it sounds to me like it is preserved because we have it on digital.
Yeah.
And to be able to paint, and because it's painted over, somehow maybe we need to give a direction to getting that artwork out so that we could look at it, or whoever would be the people that would want to take on that project.
Yeah, I'm getting text messages from folks that say, yeah, it was a promise. So
Wow.
we need to make sure that we somehow get that our artwork back on campus somehow.
It sounds like we have a plan and a promise to make that happen. So we just have to
Do
do
we?
that.
I didn't, I just heard
This is
it
the
brought up
first-
for the
this is
first time.
This is
So-
the first
Well,
I've heard
I
this
mean,
concern.
if it's
So I'm
on,
not-
if
Yeah.
it's on digital and it was promised, then it sounds like it's under our directive to make it happen.
So can we,
Except
can we
that
do
this,
that?
I will say this is the first that I've heard of this as a concern, having
Yeah.
been here for 9 months.
Yeah.
And it got painted over the summer. This is the first I've heard it. People want to reach out. It's something that we can talk with the site principals about how they, how we best want to go about that.
Who needs to reach out?
If somebody has a concern like about a particular mural, they can reach out either to me or to the principals.
Well, why can't we just get them all back on a canvas and hung up somewhere? Why can't we honor all the artwork that was painted over? I mean, maybe we can put it on an agenda to talk about further, but I kind of feel like,
Well,
why
this
would we
is-
prioritize some artwork over other artwork? I mean, this is student artwork, this is community member artwork, this is,
Right, so,
That's-
and this is a site level issue.
right.
So-
So, I mean, I don't feel like it needs to be the board's responsibility
I
to
agree.
dictate how but I just feel like the community wants the artwork back.
So the folks who are texting you, ask them to reach out to me.
I don't think that's really fair. I think the district should just honor the artwork and just go
Okay.
through the process. I mean, I will, but not everybody wants to go on record.
So would you be able to get it to the district or to Jeff, that artwork?
Yes, ma'am. So we paint a lot of schools. We have a lot of schools painted. It is our policy as a company that anytime we paint over a mural, we capture a digital image of it. And that's because of instances like this, where maybe one portion of the district doesn't feel that something's important, but there's an alumni or someone somewhere who does have some kind of connection to that mural. So that is why we captured all of those things. It wasn't because we had an understanding that we would bring them back. I did convey to the district that we could do that if we needed to, but that's why we capture everything, is we just don't ever paint over murals without getting a high-resolution image of it.
So I guess the first step is just getting those pictures back in the possession of the district, and then the superintendent can take it from there.
Okay? Also, just every file that we own, you have.
So we already have it.
All I would need to do is tell Jeff which drive they're in.
Perfect. Okay.
And Michael which drive they're in. So how we operate is all of our files are all in a Google Drive, which you all have access to. So I'll locate those, let you guys know where those pictures are, and we can go from there. And it's not a tremendous amount of work to get those restored. There is a cost associated with it, but it's not difficult for us to determine what those costs are. Okay? Any other questions?
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Ray. Okay, we'll go ahead and go to our special acknowledgement. We have Food Service Department. And, well, first off, Food Service Department, would you like to come on up?
Actually,
Oh, okay, take that back. Technology, and somebody from behind the curtain. said,
Pay no attention to the
actually,
man behind the
yeah,
curtain.
technology presentation.
Hello, everyone. Hello, board, everyone. My name is Johnny Owls. I'm the IT director for the technology department for Middletown Unified, if you don't know me. And so basically, I'm presenting to the board and all those in attendance and watching the live streams on Facebook and YouTube, by the way, if you ever can't make it. So I'm kind of going to go over what the department does, just give the community an idea of, what IT does, for a district and also, definitely for the board to see. So basically, the department, we're here to connect community and students, whether it be through website communication or parent-square communications. On our website, anybody in the community can sign up for notifications that go out, to the website. It'll go out directly to them, or you can go to the website and find it. As far as the community side of the engagement is, the IT department basically supports those systems to be able to facilitate that communication. Okay, so we're here to build the foundation for learning in the new age of the internet, basically. Back when I went to school, computers were elective. Now kids are starting with tablets pre-K. And so in order to facilitate and maintain that, we're here as an IT department, Joe and I physically here as IT department, to make sure all of the things behind the scenes kind of work. If you look over the table here, here's some things that we have little cards that kind of describe what they are. Basically to the right is kind of what's in the classroom. This TV being one of the things that would be in the classroom. And so if you want to kind of, see that, you'll see kind of the tools and the equipment that we have that we use for this. Okay, so basically these are the main things that we're behind the scenes of: communication, curriculum as far as support, managing the network, the infrastructure, security, rostering. These are all things that we're working on daily behind the scenes to make sure that things go smoothly for those out in the field, the teachers, the staff, all that. And so breaking it down even further, here's some of the things that are integrated into that with Parent Square for communications to parents in the community, Smart Sites, basically the internet, or not the internet, but the website that we have. We got Valcom, which is basically our system for broadcasting out announcements, things like that. T-Mobile for hotspot connectivity for students that may not be able to have internet at home. AT&T Office at Hand is basically our phone system. So for communications is that. And then, as I said, we have some equipment over here that has some info about that. Curriculum support is just ensuring that there's access for teachers and for students to the curriculum online, making sure they get there without teachers having to go and build out these classrooms and things. So behind the scenes, we're working on getting that implemented. And then when it comes to devices and equipment, the primary thing for students are Chromebooks. Pre-COVID, there were some Chromebooks in some classes and things, but once COVID happened, we had to make sure that students had the ability to learn from home, and therefore they were issued Chromebooks. And then coming back and re-entering the classroom, we had to ensure that they were available for every student within the classroom. And so we have Chromebooks in every classroom in carts. There's an example of a cart over there that's in black. So every student has access on campus to Chromebook, and those that don't have a device at home, we also make sure that they have the ability to have a device at home. So they're not missing out on any of the tools they need, for today's learning. And in the infrastructure, we have about 40 switches, 70 wireless access points. We have fiber optic. I got an example of fiber optic. We got copper, throughout the district to connect all these various different things so they work. For example, we got speakers, clocks, phones, computers, all that stuff connected with all this cabling. And as far as security, cybersecurity, I don't know if anybody's heard about it or phishing attacks or this, but I know I get emails at home, phone calls, all that kind of stuff. Well, school districts get all that kind of stuff too. And so we also then have tools to prevent that. We have phishing filters, offsite backups, network penetration testing, endpoint detection, response, malicious domain blocking. We have a plethora of tools implemented within the district to protect our students and staff, their information, and them from giving out their information. So behind the scenes, these things are all happening, and this is, the responsibility of the IT department. Rostering, and that's where basically we get the teachers and students into curriculum from our student information series, ARIES. That's the source of all the information. And then we have to set up configurations to get to various different applications and sites and all those things. So all these things we're managing on a daily basis, some more so than others. Now when it comes to fixing, repairing, or service calls, we have a ticketing system. And this is basically up to date as of Monday with how many tickets are passing through our department, how many have been completed and not. The team, Joe and I. Now, most of these tickets that we see here are devices, Chromebooks mostly, that have a broken screen, a bad mouse, a keyboard not working, things like that. And so that goes to our repair department, who in the IT department is Joe. That's the repair department, is Joe. He's got all the tools necessary in his location, which is at Coyote Valley, to repair all the devices, throughout the district. So that's where that kind of happens at. Okay, so this year, what the IT department has implemented are new websites. We had help and assistance, and the IT department gets help and assistance from various departments because it's kind of integrated. IT touches these different things, so you have to work with other departments. And so for the website being launched, there's a lot of back end, stuff that had to happen for that. And at the district office, Janelle was a big part of that with information and getting it all together. Wireless upgrade, we upgraded the network. We had a contractor come in through E-rate, so it was a discount program to get that updated. Fiber backbone, we had some links that weren't the best in the network, and we got those, hardlined with fiber, so we have better connectivity for those that were affected. Chromebook carts in the high school, we had, the support of Mr. McKinney at the high school's principal, and we had the support of Allison Brown. She was a key support. She's a librarian at the high school. Is we had all these devices that were checked out to students. This was the last school site that way. So at the end of the year, she got them all back in, coordinated with the teachers and everything to be able to get these devices into carts and accounted for, and then back out to classrooms. So as far as IT and with the staffing, we reach out to other departments in various ways to coordinate, big projects and things that affect us. When you get to a centralized camera system, we used to have multiple different camera systems throughout the district, some functioning poorly and not because they're just getting older. So we consolidated that all into one system, and for that we had Michael Del Sardo. I coordinated with him, and he gave me Benjamin Pimentel and Izzy Avina to go around and replace and install new cameras throughout the entire district. So we have one system that then we could delegate to the administrators and give access to, and then they also have access, whether they're on site or not, to these systems. So these are new things that were implemented in this year. And so basically, making sure that we have the technology available for our teachers to teach, for our staff to administer, all these things on the back end we're making sure happens. Because in the future for students going out there, if they don't have this access and ability, they're at a disadvantage because COVID affected everywhere and everybody went to this type of back-end support. So, we're here to help the district succeed, providing, what's needed, in this new age for learning. And so that's what we do, is is just support. And so that, in a nutshell, is what the IT department's kind of doing in the district. And so if there's any questions about any of this, more than happy to answer. And
Are there any questions from the board? No, thank you, Johnny. That was interesting. Many years ago, I was involved a little bit in the computer part, but it was standalone computers, 5.25-inch discs. Remember those days?
it just advances.
I'm
so
sure Joe
quick.
does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's seen it all change.
Yeah, he's
and-
been here since then.
And then so now I have my staff number one, and well, it's Joe, and it's not Joe just because he is the only member of my staff, because my department is small. I do have the opportunity. If there's others, and there's definitely consideration, with the people I've mentioned that have been very helpful, with the department. That's why I wanted to, bring them up. It's an all-in effort, and it's nice to have those other resources that help out and things. But anyway, so Joe,
Come on up, Joe.
come on up. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. All right, so I just wrote up a little something. All right, so as many of you know, in the department, it's Joe and I, physically here. He's my right-hand man, sometimes my left, and he supports all IT functions. He has primary responsibilities just as I do within the department, because, it's kind of multiple departments within the department, and we staff it. And so, he's the repair department. He's the one that keeps that equipment, it breaks, it gets fixed, it goes back out there, and we just keep going on. So I also had some teachers reach out to me and said, hey, how's Joe, all this? And I'd love to say something. Is there anything I can say? I said, well, you could tell me something, and I'll add it into this. And so Alyssa Bazzano reached out, and she describes how Joe has supported her classroom for over 2 decades, from servicing classroom computers, troubleshooting student iPad, and now managing one-on-one program. Alyssa says, problems arise daily, and Joe keeps us teaching. Thank you, Joe, for your support in my classroom and keeping my students online and learning. I love that part. And then we had Natalie Hurdell, first grade at Coyote Valley, echoed the sentiment. I greatly appreciate all that Joe does for us teachers at CVE, she says. He is always willing to come into my classroom when I have a question. I never feel dumb asking him questions because he is so kind and knowledgeable. I have never had to wait long to get a resolution to an IT question. I appreciate that he is on campus and he is part of our school culture. And last one, and there's many more teachers, that have brought things up. And so this is just a representation, of that. So Davina Pizer, also a teacher at Coyote Valley, wrote a powerful letter highlighting Joe's dedication and impact. She emphasizes his crucial role in maintaining our technology infrastructure, his expertise, and his commitment to a positive environment. Quote, beyond technical skills, Davina wrote, his commitment to fostering a positive and supportive environment is truly commendable. He patiently assists staff and students, making technology more accessible and less intimidating for everyone. She concludes by requesting a formal recognition of Joe's outstanding contributions, stating, our district is fortunate to have someone so dedicated to ensure that technology remains a powerful tool for learning and growth. So, these testimonies speak to what Joe does out there and how he's interacting, with staff and students out there. And, to me is if all, we all emulated that, it'd be a great thing. And truthfully, when I'm out and about, I see that. I see that throughout the district, from teachers and staff, there's a positive vibe even with a looming thing over us. And I just want to say that, you know, I'm proud that Joe's here. He's in the department. So thanks, Joe. That's for students or is that Joe? I'm shutting the room up.
Janelle has it.
Tube plugged in.
Okay, food service?
Of course. There we go. You're welcome.
Hi everyone, I'm Leanne. I am the Director of Site Nutrition, and I just want to go over some of the things that we're doing this year to better our program. The first thing that we're doing is our fresh fruits and vegetables. We're doing away with all of our canned fruit and vegetables that we serve at any meal. There will be some canned items that are still left to supply our salad bars, like kidney beans, black olives, and like humble beans. All of the fruit will be served fresh with the meals, and any hot vegetables will be steamed and fresh and frozen. And the salad bars are going to be stocked with organic and non-GMO produce. One of the things that we've introduced to start having a little more fresh fruit and vegetables to the students' diet is up on top elementary, we introduced a yogurt bar. And so far it's been a great hit, and we plan on expanding that to our other sites. Right now we're offering 2 flavors of Greek yogurt, granola, and fresh fruits and berries. And then we're also still offering our salad bar, but we made some changes to that. We're no longer going to be adding iceberg lettuce, it will always be mixed greens, green lettuce, and romaine. There will be a variety of vegetables offered each week, and we will try to add a new item so that the students have an opportunity to try new things. All of our dressings are going to be, right now we're doing our own dressings, but we are looking into the future to be able to make them in-house. And we started making our baked pastries in the morning. We're no longer going to have packaged pastries. We're going to make bagels, lemon bread, and apple turnovers just to name a few. And I have noticed that on a daily basis we produce about 5,000 pieces of trash, and that's just our forks, our spoons, and our serving trays. And I believe in order to be a successful department, we also need to be making a positive impact on our environment. So we will be switching to all sustainable products. We do still have some plastic items as we reduce out and order more single-use biodegradable. And I just want to talk about a couple of upcoming projects and purchases that we will be making. One of the things is we'll be purchasing refrigerated salad bars that can go with the yogurt bar and using our salad fresh for the students. It will also allow us to give them more options. And then our major project for this year is going to be our station. As you know, right now it's not much of we'll say it's kind of an eyesore out there, but that's not the main reason why we want to upgrade it. Our main reason it's upgrading because we have more students at this site now, and our lines are getting out the doors, and this will be able to allow us to offer more items out at the barbecue and have a better quality service. It's also going to have hot and cold wells, so we'll be able to offer deli sandwiches and salads out at the barbecue as well. And I think that includes any of our changes. Is there any questions?
Are there any questions from the board? Wasn't that great? Thank you.
Thank you. Without further ado, I would like to introduce my #1 employee. And of course, all of my staff is amazing, but this one has definitely stuck out this year. Bo Totorica, can you please come on? And Bo has been amazing this year. I have sent her to, I think, 3 different sites where she's been head cook at all of them. Every site that she's asked at, the students ask for her to come back. She always shows up with a smile and a positive attitude, and literally is bringing tears to principals' eyes because of how amazing she is with the students. Thank you so
Okay, Middletown High School.
Good evening to the community. Good evening to the board. Good evening, Mr. Crane. Thank you for your continued support. MHS's student, number 1 student is Galilea Salazar. Ms. Gibson, our health teacher, says Galilea is outgoing, positive, assertive, excellent student, and driven. Mr. Austin, our world history teacher, says Galilea always tries to do her best. She has a very positive attitude, and she helps and encourages her classmates. Mr. Evans, our computer teacher, says Galilea is an overall amazing young lady. She is self-driven, intelligent, strong, and independent. Over the past 2 years, I have had the privilege of watching Galilea become a strong young lady. She is a great example of what MHS students represent, and I enjoy having her in class. I present to you the Middletown High School number 1 student, Galilea Salazar.
Okay, Middletown Middle School.
Hello, good evening. Middletown Middle School would like to recognize Lily Reyes Clark. Please come up. Okay, so Lily is a wonderful student at our school. I have many of her teachers that have written some very nice things about her that I would like to read. Mrs. Snodgrass, her science teacher, says Lily is a model student. She is respectful and hardworking. Lily is responsible and takes the initiative to earn outstanding grades. Thank you, Lily, for your hard work. Mr. Roach in social studies says Lily is a wonderful student who completes her assignments on time while always receiving the top grade. This young lady addresses each assignment with the enthusiasm of a kid in a candy store. The 13 colonies map she recently completed was done with such care and accuracy that I can easily imagine her mom displaying it on their family's refrigerator. On top of that, she always adds to the positive environment of the class with her dynamic smile. It's easy for me to see that she will experience wonderful success in the future. Mrs. Barker in math says Lily is an exceptional student. She's always prepared for class with assignments done. She works very well in groups and is always willing to help out others who don't understand the concepts as well as her. She always seems to have a positive attitude and a smile. Lily's a well-rounded student, excelling in both academics and extracurriculars like sports. She has played on the MMS volleyball and basketball teams this year, and I'm guessing we'll also see her doing great things on the softball field. She's one of those students teachers wish they could clone and have their classes filled with. Congratulations, Lily, on this well-deserved honor. There are 2 more teachers listed. I know, there's a lot. Mrs. Stein, who is here tonight, says Lily is a delightful student with the best smile. In the classroom, she is engaged in the assignments and is an active participant when working in small groups or with a partner. Lily displays patience and care when working with her peers. You can often hear her explaining the directions or adding her own thinking to a group question. Outside the classroom, you can observe these same character traits in caring for her younger siblings on the soccer and football fields while watching her brother's practices. Lily's not only standing by cheering on her siblings and peers, she's evaluating her own performance on the volleyball and basketball courts, finding ways to improve or motivating herself. Lily is a dynamic student with a heart of gold. And Miss Welton in PE says Lily is an exemplary student by all standards. She is one of those rare individuals who finds motivation from within. Her biggest competition is with herself. She sets her own goals, holds herself accountable, achieves her target, reevaluates, and sets new standards to conquer. Never forget that you are amazing, Lily. Good job.
I want to thank all my teachers and especially my principal. I know I'm going to miss you next year. And that's it.
Cobb Mountain Elementary.
Cobb Mountain is very excited to announce Cody Karp as our Student of the Month. This is written by Cody's 5th grade teacher, Miss Laurel Phillips. This amazing young man is growing by leaps and bounds this school year. I could not be more proud of him. Not only does he push himself to be one of the top academic students, he is also very athletic. His sportsmanship has loaded him with many friends. He's always an active participant in class discussions and extracurricular activities, and he also makes a positive impact on his peers. Cody brings joy to our entire class through his amazing presentations that never fail to demonstrate his enthusiasm for learning. His contributions to class discussions are always on point and move the conversation forward. He takes risks and asks thoughtful questions. He has certainly embraced a growth mindset and the power of yet. When he doesn't understand something, he doesn't give up. He's figured out that hard work and determination both lead to success. Cody has a good balance. I see him playing hard out on the playground, and then he comes back into class and works just as hard as he plays. It's such a great formula for life. He has the ability to focus and concentrate, which shows in the quality of the work he does every day. Cody simply gets it. When it's time to get to work, he does. When it's time to go outside and run and jump and have fun out on the playground, he's all in. It's an honor to watch this young man grow and develop new skills that will assist in his future. Cody has a growth mindset toward everything he does, which enables him to tackle challenging tasks. Keep up the great work, Cody. We're so proud of you.
Minnie Cannon.
All right, so Minnie Cannon does have a student, and this is actually a 2nd grade student at Minnie Cannon. Can I have Wesley Myers come on up here? and in a minute you're going to know why. So this smile right here and his positive attitude is 100% why he's getting this. So Wesley Myers is a standout student at Minnecannon Elementary. As a second grader on the leadership team, he leads with kindness and positivity, always uplifting those around him. Wesley greets staff and students with his signature phrase, "I hope you have the best day." All the time, it's the best thing. His strong sense of family and dedication to learning make him a role model for his peers. From Miss Lisa in the office. Wesley has a contagious smile. It lights up the whole area. It makes you want to smile. Wesley is so happy. He will come in to do morning announcements and is a natural speaker. He speaks loud and articulates very clearly. I wouldn't be surprised if his smile comes through his announcements. I am so happy that Wesley attends Minnecannon. He is a wonderful role model to his peers. I look forward to having him here for many years. This is from Miss Parker, who's in charge of our leadership. Wesley is an integral part of our school leadership team. He contributes enthusiasm and great ideas at every meeting. His morning announcements bring smiles to all of us because of his contagious joy to be doing a good job. His energy is so enjoyable. I can't wait to have him in 4th grade class in a few years, Mrs. Parker. Wesley, this is Mrs. Mackey, a kindergarten teacher. Wesley has been a role model for his classmates since he was in my class in kindergarten. He learned the routine well and always followed the rules. Wesley was always a student that everyone wanted to be friends with. Wesley's dedication, hard work, and positive attitude have set a wonderful example for his peers, and we are extremely proud of his achievements. It's a lot. It's 2 pages. Got a lot going on here. We're on to the 2nd grade teacher now. Wesley is such a delight to have in the classroom. He is the definition of a gentleman. Polite, concerned with others, wants to do the right thing almost to a fault. He models kind, safe, respectful, and responsible behavior every day in school. Wesley has also made a lot of progress academically this year as well. He has read 11 books and taken AR tests to go along with the books, earning an average of 76%. Wesley also is a good speller and never missed more than 1 with all of his spelling tests this year. In math, Wesley has also gained a necessary rigor to understand 2nd grade level math. He enjoys his other subjects as well and is enthusiastic about answering questions. We are also proud to share that Wesley was one of the 2 2nd grade students to be elected in student leadership. This was new to our school this year to include 2nd grade as part of this leadership. At first, our 2nd graders had to get used to the morning announcements. It was a bit scary to read announcements and the pledge for the whole school. They do it on the PA system. Wesley can now confidently read this with no problem. So they did it with the older buddies for a while. Now they come up, not a problem. This shows he has also advanced in his overall reading skills as well. I am very proud of Wesley and his achievements so far this year. We are also lucky to have a student like Wesley at MUSD. And if you ever see Wesley anywhere, on Minnecannon campus or off campus, you will see that smile and have a good day, and it is phenomenal. So this is Wesley. Congratulations, Wesley.
You are awesome.
I'm so glad you guys got that on video. Okay, Coyote Valley does not have a number 1 because the principal is not here. Out sick. Next on our agenda, I believe is this the time that the students that want to leave with their parents may go ahead and do that? Okay, community comments. Those in the audience desiring to address the board regarding items not on the agenda may do so at this time. Each speaker will have 3 minutes to address the board and make a brief statement, express his or her viewpoint, or ask questions regarding matters related to the school system. Please understand that the board does not take action on non-agendized items. Can we change that word? Do we have anybody from? No. Okay. Okay. Consent calendar. So on our consent calendar, we have items A through F. A, payroll reports. B, MUSD purchase order report. C, MUSD warrant report, February 12th, 2025. D, donations. Allison?
Oh, yes, I can speak to donations if you'd like me to right now.
Yep.
Okay, the MHS Ag Shop wishes to thank the Middletown Unified Ag Boosters for their generous donation to be used for Ag Shop expenses. They also wish to acknowledge and thank Croman Construction for their contribution, which also supports Ag Shop expenses. And I just wanted to say to our booster clubs and individuals or business supporters that you're such a valuable resource and support for our students to garner the materials that they need to expand their learning and team building experiences. The MHS football team thanks Curtis Edwards Roofing for their generous donation, which allows the MSH football team to cover expenses needed to participate, team build, and excel in athletics. So thank you to all of those who donate to MUSD students, previously, present, and in the past, in the present, and in the future. You guys all make such a difference to our children. So we appreciate you all.
Thank you, Allison. And then E, field trips. We have senior trip to Los Angeles, Disneyland, May 20th. West Hills College Field Day, Coalinga, California, February 21st, 22nd. NC Region Spring Fling, Fortuna, California, March 4th, 5th. La Grande Judging Field Day, La Grande, California, March 7th, 8th. Dinuba, FFA Vet Floral Field Day, March 7th, 8th. Ag Mechanics, Merced, California, March 7th, 8th. Ag Mechanics, Modesto JC, Modesto, California, March 14th, 15th. Ag Mechanics, El Captain, High Lakeside, California, March 28th, 29th. Ag Mechanics, Reedley, California, March 28th, 29th. FFA State Leadership Division Finals, Sacramento, California, April 1st and 3rd. FFA State Leadership Conference, Sacramento, California, April 3rd through 6th. And that's awesome, all those field trips. That's wonderful. That's great. And we have to approve those. That's why they're coming to us in such long group. And then F is contracts, MOUs with YSCTC intern program. Are there any of the items on the consent calendar that anybody would like to pull for more discussion? Okay, so could I have a motion to approve the consent calendar?
So moved.
Second.
And it was moved by Patsy, seconded by Chris. And all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Hi.
Aye, opposed, passed 5-0. Business and facilities. We have a resolution, number 152425, authorizing filing of applications for naming district representatives and authorizing participation in SAB-administered programs. SAB stands for State Allocation Board, and it is recommended by the Board of Education adopt resolution. Is there a motion to approve this resolution? Actually, we have a comment from the public first.
Sorry, I just wanted to explain, this is,
Okay.
we had done this resolution to shift signing over to Mrs. Sabatier, and this is basically shifting it back to the current superintendent.
Okay. Okay, do I have a motion to approve this resolution?
I move to approve.
Okay, there's been a motion to approve. Do I have a second?
I second.
Who said, okay, Annette moved to approve and Allison seconded. Is there any other discussion? Okay, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed?
Aye.
Passed 5-0. Okay, we're skipping number 7. All right. right, 7B, second read board policy regulations. This board policy has come to the board for a second read and approval. Is there any, is there anything that anybody wants to discuss or say anything about it before I ask for a motion? Do I have a motion to approve the board policy 5147, dropout prevention?
I move to approve.
Second.
And Annette moved and Chris seconded. Is there any other discussion? Any comment from the public? Okay, it's been moved and seconded to approve board policy 5147. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Pass 5-0. Student items, 8, interdistrict transfer requests. Do I have a motion to approve the interdistrict transfer requests?
Move to approve.
Chris has moved. Do I have a second?
Second.
And Patsy seconds it. Is there any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Pass 5-0. Personnel. Personnel 9A, new offers, additional assignments, assignment change, extra duty stipends, resignations, notice of intent to retire. Do I have a motion to approve item 9A?
I move to approve item 9A.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved by Patsy, seconded by Chris. Is there any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Passed 5-0. We're skipping item B.
Yep.
And 9C, resolution number 172425, discontinuance of classified employees due to lack of work and/or funds.
Yeah. So, can I talk on this?
Yes.
Okay. So this is in relation to our budget and the fact that we are spending more money than we're bringing in, and trying to correct that and make sure that we remain an ongoing concern. A lot of work has gone into this plan. As one of the people near the hub of this work, I can attest to the number of people who have had input into this process. Many of the people in this room were at the staff and community information and input nights. Some people were at both of them. And there have been meetings, there have been phone conversations, there have been emails, and this has been a very live process with our plan having many changes throughout the process. For those in the public, our trustees have been involved throughout this process. We have not violated the Brown Act, but we have all wrestled with this. Many of those phone calls, emails, and meetings have been with trustees. We've been working with our principals and directors. And in working with them, they have assured us that they can make do with the reductions that we have presented for you. They've assured us that they will be able to maintain the services for students and staff. Nobody goes into being a trustee or administrator wanting to reduce a district's budget. This is not a finish line. Looking at our preliminary numbers for 27-28 and for 28-29, we are not out of the budgetary woods. If anybody pays attention to the news and hears what other districts are going through, we're not the only ones that are doing this. The reductions we're considering tonight will put us in a better position when we have to make future budgets. But there's still a real potential that decisions in the future will be even more painful. We will continue to look at areas where we can be more efficient. We will consider reductions through attrition whenever someone resigns. We will look for efficiencies in the way that we run our district. Those reductions won't garner as much attention as what we're doing tonight, because they won't require us to get together and have a board resolution. But we hope that they will have a significant impact on our situation moving forward. I actually woke up at some point in the middle of the night for the first time in my life doing math as I was waking up, doing budget math. We are continuing to look at this. But mostly at this point, we want to thank everyone for their participation in the process. And the folks who work with me will know that I often speak in stories and metaphors. I think of relationships as like trees, and that it's the going through the stormy times, it's going through the wind that creates the tree having strong roots. So as much as this is a stormy time, hopefully and I know that Middletown has had its share of turmoil in recent years. Hopefully we can get past this particular bout of turmoil. The small silver lining to the dark storm clouds is that it will make us stronger as a school community as we work through this together. Before you vote, we do have one amendment to request. Again, talking about how this is a live process, we are recommending that you amend the resolution to reduce the bus drivers instead of to 6 hours to 6.5 hours per day. And so that's one of the changes that, again, it's a very live process. So with that, I don't know which order you want to do this, but we do have 2 requests to speak from members of the public.
Okay, is the board okay with the members of the public to speak first before we do any? Okay.
Yes.
Okay, Melissa Carly-Stein.
Okay, I just I went to both meetings and went to the February 6th meeting, and I just questioned the process and how the priority list of reductions was formulated. It didn't seem or come across that there was a full analysis of the positions with job descriptions present for and really looking fully at those slides. There was a few that had numbers attached to it, and then a few that just didn't have numbers attached. So I feel like I just questioned the full analysis and process. If there were interviews that were taking place directly with supervisors, staff members, to gain a full perspective of how the positions serve the school culture, and more importantly, how these positions impact students directly. With the reduction of hours, not only is this going to affect the wage of employees that have been with our district for a very long time, or positions that are very hard to come by, and to really make sure that we are appreciating the people that we have. So not only is it going to affect their wages, but this is also affecting healthcare and what classified staff, what they have to contribute on their own towards healthcare when hours are reduced. So that I just worry. I worry for a lot of reasons, but I worry that we're not going to be able to withhold and uphold the district's goal of retaining and recruiting qualified staff members. If we're reducing hours and then thinking that it's only 5 hours of somebody's day, it's fine. But that also is their health care benefits, and then, I don't know. I worry about this process, and I am not convinced that this is necessary this year. We're going to be looking at the LCAP, and then you'll see we're halfway through the year. Are we spending all of this money? Are we 50% spending everything that's budgeted in there? I just don't think so. I don't think it's necessary.
Okay, thank you. Carol Fitters?
Thank you so much. Thank you for letting me
speak to you tonight. I have to say I am very nervous, so I have to apologize. A lot of what I was going to touch on tonight, she just spoke to, and that was the how the process happened, if things were thoroughly evaluated before we came to these conclusions, and the healthcare. It's going to be very, very important. When you have your income cut by 25% and then your healthcare taken away, the impact to families is tremendous. But not only that, the impact to the transportation department to lose a position like Diana has with her experience, her skill, her abilities, it's going to be, I think, more than what you guys have even been able to take into consideration. What she brings to the table at the transportation department is not something that you're going to get from a driver that's just getting 6.5 hours with no benefits. Her years of experience, her, her knowledge in the department where she's at, she handles the training, she handles the scheduling, she handles the athletic bands that go out. There's so much more than what she does besides just being a lead bus driver. She is the reason why a lot of us are there and driving. And you're asking somebody to split their day, 3 or 4 hours in the morning and 2 in the afternoon, and you're cutting their income by 25%, and you're not taking into consideration that they cannot get another part-time job to supplement that because they're split. And nobody has thought about that. What effect that has on the families, sorry. I'm lucky enough that my husband has been there for me so that I can drive these children that I have fallen in love with, that I get to be here. But if it wasn't for him, I couldn't afford to work here. I paid more in the first 2 months that I worked here for childcare than I made. And I did that because Diana said they needed a sub. They needed somebody. I have twin 4-year-olds that cost me more to get daycare for them than what you guys paid me to work. And I did that because of Diana. And that's what you're going to lose. You're going to lose that. You're going to lose that quality of an employee if you make these cuts without looking into it further. I understand that the budget needs to be cut, but you need to take a really good look at where we're bleeding money in certain departments before you start cutting jobs, before you start cutting income, before you start taking away people's livelihood. Because there are areas that we could really look at that are not necessary for the amount of hours they have. They're not necessary for the amount of loss they have. And, that means, sorry.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's it.
So
You can
anyhow,
finish it up.
thank you for letting me speak. Thank you for hearing me. And please know that what you're seeing on paper in black and white, there's way more to it than what's there. So, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we only had 2 people that filled out the papers from the community. Is there anybody else that would like to speak at this time? Okay, so with that being said, I'd like to ask if there's a motion to approve. Okay, if there's a motion to approve resolution number 172425, discontinuance of classified employees due to lack of work and funds, with the amendment of the bus driver going from 6 hours a day to 6.5. Do I have a motion? Okay, I'm going to move to approve the resolution number 17-2425 so that we can have some discussion. Do I have a second?
I second.
Okay, it's been moved by Zoe Francisco, seconded by Allison. Any discussion? I do want to say that I know that it looks like there wasn't the time that was put into, or maybe, I'm going to back up. The time that was put into the process, there was a lot of available time for people to reach out to our superintendent and give ideas. And I know that he has said that we were involved, individually. He was letting us know We received a lot of emails, and we responded to those emails to him with, what about this, these concerns. So I know that we have to make these cuts. We have to at least make our minimum, because we passed that already on the P1, where we have to cut the 400, I think it was 485,000. The additional cuts that we are, that's up for election, or up for vote tonight, would help with next year when we're looking at further deficit spending, because it then filters, compounds over to the following year, the savings that we make this year, or the cuts that we make this year for next year's school year. It'll help the following school year and 3 years out. With that being said, I appreciate it if we get some more discussion from the board. I'm sorry? But you don't have to. But I can call for a vote at this time.
Well, go ahead. No, you go ahead. Well, I spoke for 3 hours straight last week, so I was just going to give you all another chance to talk before I started up again.
I don't think it was 3 hours. It was 2 hours and 25 minutes.
Oh, okay. I'm still wiped out from that meeting. I appreciate the 2 comments that were made just now. I just want to go on record, though. I mean, the statement that nobody's thought about the effect that these decisions have on our employees and their families. It's just not true. It's weighed very heavily on my mind. And,
on all of our minds, it's...
Yeah, I didn't want to speak for all of you, but I just
No,
I have to
that's the
say
truth.
that, this is really a hard spot to be in. If we're bleeding resources somewhere, I'd really like to see where. I'd love to find where we're bleeding resources, because that would be a great place to start. I'd much rather stop the bleed than lose our valuable employees several hours of their time. I completely agree that sometimes reducing hours is even worse than reducing an entire position, because of all the things that we just heard. I'm wondering if, when we pass these, resolutions, I mean, like Zoe said, we already said that we have to do the 485,000. We passed the first interim. These cuts take us 150,000 past that, about. Can we at least have more information? I mean, we got the plan last week, so we've only seen it for a few days. Can we ask for maybe more information over the next month or so that further? I mean, one thing that Melissa said, is that about the analysis and the full perspective of, how the positions are going to impact students. I don't know how losing a month of our technology person's time plus 10 hours a week of his time, I don't know how that's going to impact. I know that we've heard that the director thinks that he can fill in and cover all the needs of the district, but I haven't seen a plan. I don't know that that's true, and it makes me really feel uncomfortable, that we're moving forward with a plan that I haven't seen, and it's not my job, I mean, it's administration's job to implement these things, but these are the things that keep me up at night. Have we fully thought through this? So that would be my ask, is, we passed the resolutions, meaning that we legally have the ability to reduce the workload of these people, but I'd like to see more information about how these reductions are going to impact the district, and so that's where my head is right now.
And, I think in what all of the conversations that we've had, obviously not board against board, because we're not allowed to do that, but in the community planning meetings and with the staff and one-on-one conversations with the superintendent, that really the reminder is that there are certain things that we have to do that are painful and feel terrible and are keeping us all up at night. But there may be some pieces where we have to strip back to bare bones and then add our meat back on. And that's why we're doing this early on, is so that we can have these conversations, so that we can do what we legally have to implement initially, and then go back and revisit. You know, just last night, there's a change from 6 hours to 6.5 hours. So it's not that we're not thinking about how to get people back to where they need to be, but we're trying to do this painstakingly with the least amount of pain that we can do. And that doesn't mean that there's no pain, because this isn't fun for anybody. So I appreciate what Annette's saying and asking those questions and clarification. But as Jeff has also said, this is sort of a living document. It's a process, and things are continually changing. So we're working our hardest and our best to move forward and take away the least amount that we can in the most responsible ways.
Thank you, Allison. Yeah, I do want to reiterate that, you know, it is a live document. It's open. It's just yesterday or this morning or whatever was decided, wow, okay, we need that on that extra 30 minutes to make this work, and keeping it away from the students as best as we can. Who knows what, I'm hoping that, you know, and I do know that Jeff has promised that we're working on this continuously as he's running the district, and he's reaching out to everybody that, you know, needs to put that information. If you say, you know, for instance, we're looking at technology. If you say that Johnny can do the work with somebody being 10 hours less a week, you know, for help, and 1 month a year, can that really happen, you know? And what I think maybe Annette's saying too is that show us how it's going to work, how that is going to work. I think anything that we agree to tonight is still something that can be changed, because we just have to agree to start the process, and then as they're re-looking at it, they might come back to us. I'm hoping they do and say, you know what, we found money here. We need to bring this back, and is it called resend? You know, the slips.
Jeff, do you care if I speak to the question we had last, or the question I had to you yesterday about our state budget? There's nothing we can do to change it, but there has to be some awareness that we have to put out our pink slips on May 15th, and we have to have our budget in before the governor gives us a budget to decide on June 30th. And it's really backwards, in my opinion, because that's a big guessing game for us. You know, we have to submit what we think is going to work when we don't know what state funding we're actually going to get. So Jeff, I don't know if you want to speak to that a little bit, but if in my book it feels like the dates should be switched, that the governor, you know, that we should get our state budget before we're making decisions, but it's kind of backwards because we have to make budgetary decisions before we have acknowledgement from our state funding what we actually have to work with.
Yeah, we're budgeting on somewhat of a guessing game. In fact, the school services document that we shared earlier with regard to the February 6th meeting, it's attached there if anybody wants to go see it, is actually called a dartboard because we're kind of taking guesses. But that's the best that we have. The governor's original budget came out in January. We take a look at that. By the time we get to our submitting our budget to you in June, we will have the governor's May revise, it's called. And then there are some trailer bills also that tell us kind of some specific things as far as how to do with the big picture. But yeah, we will have our, and I don't remember, I'm trying to remember the exact dates. I was just looking at them earlier today, but we have 2 meetings in June, one where we will propose and have a hearing on the LCAP and the budget, and then one where we will adopt. And then on June 30th is the deadline for the legislature to pass the state budget. So yeah, it is a little bit backwards. And yeah.
I think we have to be careful not to misrepresent what that means, though. I mean, we have a structural deficit.
We do.
We are spending more money than we bring in, which means that eventually we will not be able to run the district if we keep spending the way we're spending. So just, even if things look more rosy, it doesn't mean that the superintendent and his team are going to decide to make any changes, because if things look more rosy, it just means that we will be able to fix our deficit spending sooner rather than later. So
Our hole will be a little less shallow, or a little more shallow.
But I guess what I would like, I'm more concerned with serving our students and cutting services to our students before we legally have to, and not being able to serve them effectively. So I guess that's what I keep coming back to is, can we do our job with these cuts in these areas? And I think Melissa brings up a valid point regarding prioritization. And I know that you'll be talking about this a lot more, but one thing that we didn't hear a lot about this go round was what's happening with the fiscal positions in the district office and who does what and what their roles are, and why perhaps one of their hours a day wouldn't be able to be reduced as opposed to the technology position that's serving our teachers. So there's a lot of these questions that I think still need to be massaged and communicated and you know, prioritized so that we as a community feel like that the cuts are happening in the right order according to serving students.
So I think 3 of you have covered a lot of what I wanted to say, and I'm right there with you on that meeting last week. We definitely, hashed out a lot of stuff, asked a lot of questions. I wanted to actually mention, you had mentioned that was May 15th, is March 15th is when we have to, is our deadline for.
Well, March 15th, yeah, but May 15th, the governor comes out
Okay, I
with
thought you
his.
said the.
Well, and there's also preliminary and final, so there's other,
Yeah. I'll think about it.
Okay.
So I was on the receiving end of a pink slip, and it sucks. So I get it. But again, when you're sending out more money than you're bringing in, it's going to suck even worse when the state walks in there and says, we're telling you how to run it now. And no matter how much you jump up and down and kick and scream and cry, it sucks. So we have to make the hard decisions, and hopefully, like Allison said, I really like the analogy of putting meat back on the bones. I don't want to live in a fairy tale land going, oh, Mary Poppins, rah, rah, rainbow farts and all that good stuff. Hopefully it comes back. If I won the lottery, great. That's not necessarily in the budgetary plan, but hopefully things will clear up a little bit, and if we can do the least amount of damage as possible, I think that's what we're all up here for. I don't have a dog in the fight, and it's been eye-opening, and there's questions I've been asking Jeff, kind of peeking behind the curtain, see what the Wizard of Oz is doing back there. And yeah, it's ugly, not what Jeff's doing, just in general.
I thought you were calling me ugly.
No, it's rough, and sometimes you just got to rip that Band-Aid off. And
it's really important. I'm sorry, were you?
No, it's position, not people, and that's a hard thing to divide because I know people. I've been here a long time, and so how do you look them in the eye and go, "Hi there. Oh, yeah, sorry about that last night." It's nothing personal. We're not going to be here.
It is really important, though, to keep in mind intellectual, or not intellectual property, but institutional knowledge and institutional memory. And it might feel like it's better to cut 2 hours than an entire position. But if somebody leaves because they can't work 2 jobs and they need that full-time income, we're still losing that position anyway. And it's expensive to the district, just from a pure, cost analysis. It's expensive to train new people, and we have to remember that our human capital is our biggest asset. I mean, we're in education. It's an intangible service that we provide, and it's the people that are providing it. So I just hope that as we continue, because there will be more reductions coming down the line, and I just hope that we remember that there is that piece that I don't know who said it. I think it was Melissa. The retaining, recruitment and retention is one of the most expensive aspects of running an organization, and so we have to take that into account when we're thinking about positions and hours and whatnot.
Yeah, in regards to the process, I think something to consider. The process last year was not great. It's much better this year. We're obviously going to be doing this again unless something drastic changes. So I'm sure we can improve on the process. I think as much as the board would like to be, know so much that we can, have the perfect solution for it, we just don't. I think one thing that we rely on, and it hasn't been brought up too often, but I think one thing to look to Jeff at, to see what he's already been through a district that didn't make these tough decisions and didn't do any of the stuff that we're doing right now. And the state runs them right now. They might not even make payroll through the year. So I think he was able to see the mistakes that they made, and a lot of what we make our decisions off of is the information we have. If I had Tanya's mind, I might have some great ideas, but I don't. And I think what we're doing right here is the best that we know how. I think we're going to be doing it again. I think there's improvements that can be made in other areas we can look at. But for right now, this started in December, where we have to make a decision by March 15th, at least get it on paper. So none of us want to be here doing this, but it's a lot of tough decisions.
I'd like to piggyback on that a little bit, Chris, with the process. I do agree. The process last year was, terrible, and we were up here having pushed and had to decide, and that was a hard vote. And I believe in the process, and I believe in the hard work that you have done, and your team has done, and the administration has done. And the community and the staff members, the input that everybody put, I would hope that the process does get better and that we get a little bit more detail on, in the next, more detail on, well, this is how they're going to make this work. This is how bus drivers are going to go from 8 hours to 6.5, and we're still going to be able to serve our students because of, A through Z. That's the one thing that I see the change that maybe the process can get better at.
But I also like to add, in terms of like last year's process, it was just like these are what has to get cut, and that's it. I walked into Thursday's meeting expecting layoffs of some kind. And I think that the work that Tanya and Jeff did really, I mean, it's not great that we have to do this, but I was expecting a much worse outcome of what the plan was going to be based on our previous meetings. So I was I'd have to say pleasantly surprised, because I thought it was going to be much worse. And, hopefully, the next round can be, easy too. But.
It might be, though. I mean, that's the thing that I think that we need to consider is all of these positions that are being reduced from full-time positions. If those folks can't make ends meet without a full-time position, they will leave that position, and then we're stuck with a part-time position that's very hard to fill. And we've been down that road before too, and so it's just there aren't any easy answers. And unfortunately, we are a school district. There's only a few of us in the state that are in our position where we don't make enough money to be basic aid, to get money from property taxes to run us, but we also don't have enough socioeconomically impacted students to really be able to afford to do what we do. And so we've gotten lucky with a few emergencies like COVID and COVID money and whatnot, but that ship sailed, and now here we are holding the bag. We've got to figure out how to run this school district without enough money.
I also think we had some really good discussions last week or 2 weeks ago.
They run together.
Looking at Plan B and Plan C, and there's times we're going to have to pull the trigger on some of them. And whether it happens next year or the year after, you think it's rough now. It's coming.
That's a really good point, Patsy.
So we have to be ready to make some impactful decisions. And not that this is not impactful. I am not taking this and saying, oh, well, it's just
More.
an hour here and an hour there. Because those are hours. That is livelihood. I get that. There's bigger fish coming at us, which is going to suffer worse.
Well, right. That would kind of be my question too. Do you think it would be better? I'm just asking the question, just working it through, because I appreciate what you're saying there, Annette. Because I get that, if you're not going to have your health insurance or you need the hours, and so you have to look for something else. So is it better to eliminate a full position, and then what would those positions be? I'm asking because I don't know.
Yeah, it's a really hard question to answer.
Yeah, I don't.
I mean, how do you know until yeah, at that point, it does depend on the person, because, somebody in that position might have a spouse that has health benefits, and so they're willing to take the hit. And at what point can we look at that position and turn it back into a full-time position so that we can maintain the people in those positions? I mean, these are really hard questions that really need to be addressed by the superintendent and not the school board, but they're the questions. But like Patsy said, the next step is to I mean, we've got to look at the configuration of our schools. We just have to. We have to figure out how we're utilizing our campuses, and if there's a better way to utilize our campuses. I maintain that. I'm not saying that anything needs to go away, but maybe we can better utilize our campuses so that we can recruit more students into our district and get more ADA. I mean, ADA is one of the only ways we can make more money. So, I'd love to see our Cobb community come down here and put as much passion into figuring out how to get more students as they put into begging us not to close the campus. I mean, we've got to be solution oriented. So,
well, there was a piece of information. Jeff, do you want to speak to that, where about our inter-district transfers for Cobb? We thought was only at 5.
Oh, yeah. Some of our, without going into the details of how this developed, but at one point we thought we had 5 students on inter-district agreement from Kelseyville, and it turns out we have 19, which means that Cobb is bringing in a significant amount of funding, which we talked some about at the study session, that looking at that dartboard and looking at the funding per student, it's different per different grade level, but they kind of work out to roughly $11,000 per ADA. And so if you're looking at 19 students, that's $200,000.
Right, but I also
that-
think you need to
that
follow
we're
those
getting.
19 students, and if they don't come down this way because we don't have anything to offer them,
Well,
then
right.
that's the continuing
But-
discussion we had last time.
Yeah.
It's a big elephant. that
So
nobody
we got to
wants
figure out how to keep those students and not have them go back to Kelseyville when they
Right,
get to be in the
that
sixth
makes
grade.
sense,
You know,
too.
I mean,
Yeah.
we've got to start thinking outside the box. We've got to.
We just approved 8 interdistrict transfers from Kelseyville to Cobb.
Those are some of the ones that we're going through and getting the paperwork cleaned up
Yeah,
on.
yeah, so, so they're there, you know,
Yeah.
we have that.
It's not enough, though. I mean,
Well, no.
we need 30 students,
Well-
not, you know, I mean, it's.
And we need more of the process to be figured out and brought to, you know, pencil it out, you know, and put it on, and start the process, and so that it's rolling, so that 2 years down the road, we go, well, we're able to do it now, you know, and that's just one item. Cobb schools, smaller ones, you know, everybody's taking a hit. You know, maintenance, anyway. Keep on talking, but.
Yeah, but we got like, I mean, we have some coming in, but I don't know what we can do about the students going out. That way we can keep them here. You know, we got a lot of high school students, which is the higher amount, right? Like, I don't know, 90,000 worth of inter-district out, you know, transfers out too. So I don't know how you retain those students either.
We could just say no.
We,
You're right.
I don't know, it matters what
I
our
mean, we-
resolution says. I mean, our.
Well, no, she's talking about to the interdistrict.
Yeah, we could just tell people they can't send their kids anywhere.
Right.
That wouldn't be a very
That would irritate
popular
people.
thing to do, though, I'm sure.
Yeah, and at one point, we did look at that. I don't know, Janelle, if you'll remember that, but it was, you know, years ago, and we were saying, no, we're not approving anybody, in or out.
And so when they leave anyway, would we go pick them up in a bus, a special bus, because
Yeah.
you can't go there? I mean, I'm just wondering, how do you stop that? I understand we don't sign it off, but
I'm also wondering where that money goes, because a lot of those are going to basic aid districts that aren't getting ADA. So
Yeah.
where does that money go?
State keeps it.
Good question. That's our gift
so
to California.
if we say no and they go anyway, we don't get the money, but neither does the new district, the state just keeps it?
No, I think
Now,
that
if
if,
they go to a basic aid district that is not funded based on student attendance,
Which is Calistoga.
and the webinar I just watched said that they keep it. They just keep their overflow. Yeah, shocking. I wish they would share it, right?
But I think the conversation is telling that the next, as we start working towards the next cuts that are coming down the pipeline, there's going to need to be a lot of these questions are probably going to need to be front-loaded. Why this position and not this position? What criteria did you use to decide that it is better for our students to cut this position versus this position? Those types of questions, I think the community is going to be really looking for as we continue to consider cuts coming down the line.
But
Okay.
I do think that this process this year has opened up a better avenue to communicate and better transparency. And so we're setting the stage for those questions to be received and addressed and fully contemplated.
Yeah.
I think we're moving forward as far as the process goes.
Okay, there's a motion passed on the floor to pass resolution number 17, 2425, amended, as amended with the bus drivers going from 6 to 6.5. I'm ready to pull for a vote if there's not any more discussion. Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passed 5-0. Okay, on to curriculum in.
And hang on, before we move forward, I just want to thank the board for your support, guidance, and questions. Many of the conversations that we have stretched our thinking as a team. And again, a lot of the work that you guys do is behind the scenes. And so people see the meetings here, but they don't see all the stuff that you do behind the scenes. And so I want to just acknowledge that publicly and thank you for that. I've been taking notes throughout. So thank you guys very much.
Okay, on to curriculum and instruction. 10A, MUSD reclassification form for English learners. Do I have a motion to approve the reclassification form?
I move to approve.
It's been moved by Chris. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Patsy. Any discussion?
Would you like some information on it?
Sure.
Show off that I know
mean,
things other than budget?
Well, actually, I looked at the form and it looked
Okay,
pretty
well, there you go.
straightforward.
Yeah. So just for the English learner to be reclassified as fluent English proficient, they have certain criteria that they have to meet. And some of those criteria are determined by us as a district. And so it's an opportunity for us to put those together in one form, make it easy for those at the school sites to be doing that. Brandy Fisher actually spearheaded updating this form as our district EL coordinator. And so want to thank her as well as give you a little bit of information.
Well, thank you, Jeff, because that goes into helping with our monies that might come from the federal government, right? If they are filling them
we
out.
get funding for students who are English learners. This is actually one where because of a student is reclassified to no longer be considered an English learner.
The reclassification,
we might actually
right. Lose that
lose
money.
funding.
Oh.
But it's again looking at students by the individual.
Yeah.
It's good for that individual to be fluent in English.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, so we have it on the floor, ready for a vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Pass 5-0. Okay, item B, academic calendar. So we have our 25-26 academic calendar to vote on. And do I have a motion to approve the 25-26 academic calendar?
I move to approve.
Chris moved to approve. A second?
I second.
Allison seconded. Is there any discussion? And I just wanted to ask the process in creating the calendar. Did you talk with MTA?
I'd be happy to share the
Thank you.
process. I'm becoming more and more of a process nerd. So the process for this, we put out a survey to students, staff, parents, asking them about various aspects of the calendar. We got 272 responses. Actually, the most positive response was was pretty much for keeping the calendar the way that it is. We did talk with MTA. One of the things that they talked about was moving the October break a week earlier, that it works better for academics and it puts some more space between the October break and Thanksgiving break. And so that was one of the adjustments that we made. So once we got the input from everybody, we then put the calendar together. We then sent it out to all the staff in the district and asked for them to take a look at it and give feedback. We got a little bit of feedback. One of the things was, hey, we're getting really close to July, and our school site secretaries aren't going to have time to get ready for the start of the school year. And one of the things that we are working with CSCA on is making it so that our school site secretaries can come to work in July. We're going to adjust where their days are, so they won't have to come in as much on like October break, President's Week break, spring, all those kinds of things. They'll instead have some days that they can work in July. And so far the response to that has been very positive. And so.
Okay, and that's a good process. Thank you, because it's brought to us before with, the MTA or nobody that ever saw that, it just was brought to us. And
I think Ms. Patchy has a.
Yeah, I hate to be the wet blanket. I did have a few former colleagues reach out and say that they felt that the survey was very, I don't want to say targeted, but it was very pointed in a, we'd really like you to vote this way. So here's the
Oh.
questions are guided that way. So I just wanted to
That's
send
wild
that.
because we got a lot of votes, a lot across, in a lot of different ways.
Yeah, I'm just telling you conversations that were had.
Okay.
And they have the same questions that I had talked to you about the breaks and just different
Yeah.
things and the input. There was, they just felt that the survey was it wasn't open-ended. It was more, you know how you can make people kind of answer surveys the way you form the question kind of thing?
Yeah, we just went through and.
I'm just
Yeah.
putting
We just
that out
had,
there.
what do you think about these different things? And we had people who
Yeah.
answered across the board.
Yeah, I
throughout,
just
so.
wanted to,
Okay.
you know, just throw that at you just in case you
Okay.
ever.
And that's
Okay.
the first time hearing of that. So
Yeah.
I wish
Well,
that folks had
it's-
shared that with me.
Yeah, I'm just being generic about it, so.
That's fine.
Just as
Yeah,
a-
yeah, and I don't expect you to bust anybody out.
Yeah, no, I'm
but
not busting chops. I'm
Please,
just
but
letting
please
you
encourage
know.
them, but please encourage them. And I understand that communication with the superintendent in Middletown has not always been
Copacetic?
open. And hopefully, in the time that I've been here, I'm establishing that that's really what, I mean, I work for the community. And so that's, you know, I want to talk to as many folks as I can. They can
Notes.
email, they can text, because they all have my cell number now. You know, email, text, drop by, phone call, whatever. So.
It wasn't a slam on you. It
No,
was
no,
just
I understand.
Just an informational.
I understand. They may know more about building surveys than I do. That is not an area where I've done a lot of work. So, I mean, I put a lot of surveys together, but I haven't like taken a class on survey building.
Analyze.
Yeah,
process,
yeah.
Okay, it's been moved by Chris, seconded by Allison. Any more discussion? Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Passed 5-0. Okay, down to ethnic studies curriculum.
I move to approve.
Second.
Any discussion? Okay, it's been moved by who moved to approve? Annette, she wants to go home.
No, I just want to approve it.
Yeah, I
too,
know, it was
both.
a good one. And seconded by Chris. Any discussion?
So are we going with that fantastic presentation that we got last time?
Yes.
Okay, then.
Yep. And Stacy talked about the process when she was here last month. And we had it available actually on our website as well as a Chromebook in our office. And I haven't received any commentary from anybody.
Okay.
So-
It was a beautiful
terrific.
presentation. and
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just wanted to clarify to the public.
Yeah.
Yeah,
If
yep.
you watched last board meeting, that great presentation, then
Yeah.
all the
And it's
hard
still on
work
our-
that
and
went
it's still-
into
we'll-
it.
We will leave it up on the website because it's a new class. And there have been different rumors and misunderstandings and things that have gone around about it. And so if anybody wants to look at the curriculum, if anybody wants to come talk to me about it, curriculum's actually my thing more than budgeting. So I will talk to you even more about curriculum.
You know, I'm sorry, but I keep on forgetting to ask, is there any community comments, you know, and especially with something like this, you know, there might be.
I think the Office of Education did a good job of kind of having any issues about the past. I think it was probably when it first was introduced, it was pretty controversial. Probably still is, I don't know, but with Lake County taking it and using it to, you know, apply our local.
Yeah. And from here, it becomes we will have professional development for teachers, and then they will be able to have professional development before teaching it, and they'll have some check-ins throughout so that teachers from throughout the county can talk to each other about how it's going, learn from each other.
Okay, it's been moved by Annette and seconded by Chris. Any more discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Passed 5-0. Item D, LCAP mid-year progress report.
So this is one you don't even have to vote on. It is a new requirement that we update the board on our LCAP mid-year. It is attached to the agenda. I did not do a fancy stand up in front of you slideshow, but it basically shows the work it shows some of the indicators of the work that we're doing and working toward providing basic services for our students, increasing their academic achievement, and also providing climate and culture. And so you don't have to vote on it. It's just a presentation.
Right.
That's it. Information only. And I will, even though I'm going to glance, I'm hoping this is okay.
Yes.
President Brasisco. I'm looking at the upcoming dates. I just want to explain for the public. The board study session on March 11th will be an opportunity for us as a governance team to talk about how we are working with each other. That will be it's a public meeting. We are trying to get the meeting room at the library for us. It's a meeting in public. You're right. Thank you. Thank you for that clarification. It is a meeting of the board in public rather than a public meeting. Thank you for that.
Probably won't be taking public comment.
We will,
Really? Will we be,
there will be an
really?
opportunity for public comment, but they will have to talk just on the agenda, which the agenda is going to be how we're working with each other. We'll talk about
Maybe we'll
the
get
process.
some good advice.
Maybe we will. We'll talk about our governance handbook. We'll talk about
Yeah.
the process for my evaluation. We have my goals established, and I've been providing the board with updates on how I'm doing on those. But we'll talk about what the final format will look like and things like that.
Yeah. Looking forward to that. Thank you for putting that together. So, okay, that important upcoming dates, and then do I have a motion for final adjournment?
Can I make some announcements real quick? Just sorry, real quickie.
Yeah,
Am I allowed
yeah,
to
he
under
jumped over to
announcements?
important
Sorry,
dates.
my bad.
Okay, just letting you all know, the boys basketball team won 67-52, so I believe that makes us co-league champions with St. Helena.
Yeah, I don't know if
Wow.
St. Helena's won their last game or not.
That's great.
But we may end
Yay.
up then playing St. Helena on
I believe
Friday
we
at St.
play
Helena?
them Saturday, Jake thinks Saturday
Okay.
for automatic berth into
Gotcha.
the playoffs. But
Okay.
either way, it looks like we both we'll have the same record, barring St. Helena having
Yeah.
some crazy fluke loss tonight, which I doubt's going to, or tomorrow
Yeah.
night, which is probably not going to happen. Also, Sports Boosters is putting on a golf gala May 10th, so be looking for that. It's going to be on Facebook, and the Sports Boosters will have that posted on their page. And Donkey Basketball is coming back on
What?
March 10th. So they've got Mr. Donkey Dude from Washington all lined up, and they've got his paperwork, I believe, filled out with Carlos. Yes, Donkey Basketball, you're riding, I hear? Oh.
I pulled the tractor.
So anyway, it's a really big fundraiser if
Is
you've
it
never
in-
been.
Where does it
Freaking-
happen?
Freaking hysterical. Tom and Jim. They wear boots, so it'll protect the gym floor. Ask Miss G, because we had the same issue.
Oh, yeah.
That gym floor will be cleaner than when we walked in there with the
Okay.
donkeys. So FFA does a good job of cleaning up. So
Awesome.
be prepared to be invited to ride, just saying.
They can invite me. They can invite me to anything they want. I pulled the tractor. I'm thinking that's going to cover me for a little bit.
Okay, do I have a motion for final adjournment?
Move to adjourn.
Okay, it's been moved by Annette, seconded by Allison. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, pass 5-0.